Hello and welcome back to the E-Arsenal podcast once again. We're here to discuss everything Arsenal, everything Gooner, everything North London, red North London, obviously not that other dot down the road. And yes, we're doing double time this week. So probably not lengthwise, but we've got a lot of match action to catch up with. Some good, some not so good, some just downright frustrating. And we'll cover that over the next 35 minutes or so. With me once again to discuss everything on the agenda, we have... I screwed that up a little bit. I was going to do you the whole Rob Tompkins. I can say Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello. I didn't jump in this week.
Yes, I know. Thank you. How is everything?
It's going all right. Trying to get my sleeping pattern back because I watched Super Bowl 50 on Sunday and now I'm critically tired.
Tell me about it. And it wasn't worth it, as it never is NFL generally.
No, it really wasn't.
Defensive masterclass. It was like watching two Chelseas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for a different podcast.
Oh, you're right. Interesting. Yes. So you're Broncos or Panthers?
I am a New York Jets fan, a long-suffering New York Jets fan, but I did want the Panthers to win on Sunday, which was probably why they lost.
And also on the show this evening, we have Conor. Yes.
Hello. What an entrance.
Thanks. I'll work on that. But I was trying to think of last week when it's like Conor Day Smith or De Smith, De Bruyne, as listeners of last week's show. I'm sure there are many of you out there. And I was trying to get down to a T, but obviously that's a work in progress. Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I managed to. I watched the halftime show on YouTube. I think that's about as far as my NFL knowledge goes.
Yeah, it's something. Generally I do that every year, but I just happened to be up. Goodness knows why. I think probably doing a bit of work, and it was on, and then I thought, right, well, I might as well just have it on in the background. And I don't know. It's strangely hypnotic, but perhaps not in a good sense. I think it only had 1/7 of Liverpool United game or something, like in terms of views or something ridiculous. So football's still supreme. Is that true? Only 1/7?
I think something like that. Something like that derby completely trumped it by however many millions.
That is quite extraordinary. I thought, because I thought it was the most viewed sporting occasion in the world every year. But
I did get it off Twitter, so don't quote me, listeners.
Okay. Well,
it wasn't troll football, but it was
depending on what Twitter source that was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on from that. So we've got two games to cover. We'll talk about Bournemouth in a little bit, but first, Southampton. It was an incredibly frustrating game. I suppose in hindsight now, the fact that Southampton won again at the weekend, that means they've gone 5 games without conceding, which is a very, very creditable record, and certainly after Ronald Koeman was struggling a little bit in my eyes. So they have that now, and it's been a lot of criticism thrown our way, and everyone just scapegoat somebody. Why didn't we score? Sometimes with goalkeepers, they just have complete tour de forces and they make 10 saves, 11 saves, 12 saves. Fraser Forster made 10 saves. He is also an incredibly big unit, a dominant unit, and when it's just not going in, it's like a game on FIFA where, I don't know, you're trying to get around this ridiculous Thiago Silva-like character, and he just can't, because he just keeps bulldozing you over. Not in the same vein as that, but it just seems like when you're bearing down on Fraser Forster, England number 2, number 3, and he's just saving everything. He's 6'5", and so Conor, what was your view on it? It was obviously incredibly frustrating, but we created an awful lot of chances.
Well, I think Wenger said in his interview after the game that we'll know at the end of the season how damaging the result will be. I think he's right, because to get a 0-0 at Southampton is incredibly frustrating. Especially, I think we had 22 shots
Yeah,
and
10 on target,
10 on target. And
which is pretty good. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like 66% possession as well. I think the positives on the pitch definitely outweighed the negatives. Um, it frustrates me how long it takes us to get going. I think like it took us 16 seconds to get the ball in their box in the second half,
yeah,
and in the first half it took us nearly 11 minutes to get the ball in for an Arsenal player to have a touch in their box, which
it's
is
that's happened before
yeah
this season. I know against. I don't know. I don't know if it's our approach, but the Sunderland game, we struggled to really. I think it was 25 minutes. I can't remember. It was after the. I think we lost. My memory's shocking this evening. Apologise. But was it the? We played Southampton, and then everyone was like, "Yeah, we're going to win." But it took us 25 minutes to really get back.
yeah, and it just frustrates me that it takes like we're at home. We should be dictating the tempo, and we were just so slow and lethargic, and it improved in the second half.
That's a good thing to note, though. The fact that clearly Wenger has delivered some sort of message that, lads, we won't be as lucky to know as what Wenger says in a press conference. Goodness me, I would like to see what actually happens when we're playing, just not having any totally toothless performance, no backbone. So it did, by the look of that, it seemed like the message had got home, and he'd actually,
But like defensively, I think I thought Flamini deserves a mention because it looked clear that before the game, Wenger or part of the management team had told him to stick with Mane, and it looked he was almost stuck to him like glue for the majority of the first half at least. So I think he did well. I think Alexis, most of our play came from the left. I think he was one of the, contender for man of the match. But yeah, created a lot, but just didn't go over the line.
Well, you said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Literally, Rob, what's your take on events of last Tuesday, as it were?
It's just another incredibly frustrating performance that's come off a month of, I think, rather frustrating performances outside of the cup competitions. I mean, we should have. I think it's worse the Southampton draw just because it came off the back of the Chelsea defeat, which is a game I think we all looked at when we should win that. They're not playing very well. And it also came off the two draws against Stoke and Liverpool, which I've sort of always said they were good draws.
Yeah, away from home, yeah, agreed.
In November, but when you get to January, you sort of need to start winning those games, and Southampton sort of turned into another one of those. It's an all right point because they're not bad, but you need to win those games if you're going to win the league. Leicester are winning those games at the minute.
And how?
Yeah,
we'll come on to that in a minute. It's like, February, Groundhog Day, and it's hard not to disagree with that when, we're not losing games, certainly not that on that occasion, but it's just, what do you say, really?
Especially when you've seen it for 10 years as well, pretty much, that Arsenal get to this point in the season. And if they're winning games, it's usually because they've messed up in the first half of the season. But when they've had a good first half, it usually gets to about February, and we then mess it up.
Yeah, no, completely. So, I mean, any word on Southampton's defence?
I personally thought that again we spoke about in the last podcast that they were a hard unit to break down. I think whenever we got the ball out wide with Giroud in the box, they had about 8 players. I think I counted at any given time in that box to stop the ball. I think the space between their defence and the field, because they almost played 4-4-2 with Long Mane. They seemed to try and pounce on the numerous mistakes we made, like from the back.
Shane Long did get in actually on quite a few occasions in the first half.
They did have opportunities. I think if Mane and Long were a bit more calm and composed, or if they had a bit more support from midfield, then I think they could have at least gone 1-0 up. But defensively they look very good, and I think the clean sheet on the weekend emphasises that.
Yeah, did they play? I know they played 4 at the back at the weekend against West Ham. Did they play 5? Because I couldn't really work it out against us at the Emirates. Or was it the original 4? Because I know that I can't work out whether it's back 3 or back 4. And then
It looked like
two
4.
wing backs. I'm not sure. So that was it. Was just a disappointing result, really. Especially in the light of other results, and obviously then Spurs winning, which sent them above us in the table, which was thoughts of St Tottenham's days are quite, they're not distant yet, but I mean it
might be late on this season.
Well, hopefully it's going to happen. I'm not entertaining the idea of that just yet, but we'll see. So moving away from Southampton and then going to Bournemouth, it was, I always thought it would be similar to Leicester away, that they play in a pretty attacking game. They don't really do defence. I don't think they can do it particularly well if they need to have an outlet at the other end. And but to start off with, it was a very cagey game, and then all of a sudden we just exploded into life with 2 goals inside 90 seconds. It's almost like, it was our first goal in 4 games, and actually let's go and get another one. And maybe another one, but that didn't happen. So that was good to see. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, we've talked on this podcast many times that he, he's winding his way towards having the last chance, really, because he's just not really showing it. And his finish was really good for the second goal. I believe it was, yes. And but I've got a stat here. He's one short of 100 appearances. He's played 99 games since 2011, and he's only scored 7 goals. Conor, talk to me.
Well, I think you said it all really there. I mean, that stat alone. I think that was it his first away goal as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Can
you believe that? That's crazy.
His first goal, I think he's been involved in 26 Premier League games. Goals and assists from a winger, from an attacking winger.
Yeah.
He really frustrates me. I think
half of that is from the Blackburn game a couple of years ago. I remember when he got
half of all he's done is from that season.
Yeah,
the 12 season. He just frustrates me. Like I like him as a person. I think he must be great in the dressing room to have around. But
I think that's what Graham Souness even was saying. He's this guy who appears on Twitter and social media, and he's the joker. He seems like a really nice guy, but ultimately, as so many Arsenal players, and I'm going to say Emmanuel Frimpong to you, Mr. Dench, ruined his career by social media, basically. And he doesn't. I don't think he takes the game seriously, but I think he's concerned about other areas of his life more than football. I'm going to put that to you, Rob. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he got a bit of stick of a few people for dancing in the tunnel before the game, I mean, it's probably not helpful when you're a person that is having a massive goal drought for 5 years now, pretty much.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, he's coming to that point of his career where he's no longer the prospect, and I mean, I think he's almost in that Theo Walcott bracket of players that, because we've had them for so long, it's like, oh yeah, he's still only 21, he's still a prospect, he's got 20 years of a career almost ahead of him. But he is now getting to that point where it's a bit like, come on, mate, you've got to show more than just, I can do it every 3 or 4 games.
Absolutely. He's 22 years of age, so arguably his best years are ahead of him. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it's good for his confidence, but now he does need to start scoring on a regular basis.
It was a good goal.
Was very well taken. Nice little ball from Ramsey, slipped him in. Although it'll be it from mistake by, I think it was Steve Cook and the Bournemouth defence. But yeah, nice little ball from Ramsey, and he did shoot across the goal.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that was impressive. We can't really judge yet. I mean, I'm guessing I don't know, but I think Wenger's going to be quite tempted to start Theo against Leicester, but I'm not sure. Based on that, Theo didn't even come off the bench, if I'm correct in saying it, the Vitality Stadium. I saw him warming up, but
he was on for about a minute, I think,
did he
in
come
injury
on?
time. Yeah, I think he came on about the 93rd minute
I
of 94.
don't think I even noticed that. I think that's interesting. So it's whether he's going to start. Based on that performance, Wenger might consider sticking with the same team. I don't know. We'll see. So I think it was Conor. You talked about Flamini. I thought Rob or either of you, I can't remember. Why he was? Yeah, you said he was stuck to Mane, like from the thing. But I think a lot of was made that why is we've got two defensive midfielders sitting on the bench, in Coquelin and Elneny. We're easing Coquelin in. I get that, and you can understand that based of rushing so many players back in the past and then just having them break down. But I'm not sure why Flamini's still starting. Did he earn your trust against Bournemouth?
Not. I was impressed with him. As I said, I was impressed with him against Southampton to an extent. I feel like he's one of those children in school that are so badly behaved. When they do something decently, they get rewarded. He did have a decent performance against Southampton,
apart from the two-footed tackle.
Yeah, again, but he didn't impress me so much against Bournemouth, and that could have been a red card.
Yeah,
could have been. If he didn't win the ball so convincingly, then it would have been a red for me.
I think what saved him from being sent off was on Adam Smith, wasn't it? I think, and he wasn't right next to the ball, and you could see the ball was rolling towards it, but he went in and he did get it. It was a dangerous challenge. I thought, oh God. Once I saw that, it's like, yeah, this could go either way here, but it didn't, thankfully. But I'm just not too sure. Against Leicester, it's a similar scenario with Oxlade-Chamberlain, really. Surely Wenger's going to play Coquelin against Leicester. He'll need to, just to cut out the likes of Mahrez and Kante. Because if we play Flamini against Kante and Drinkwater, we'll get overrun, I think. I don't think we'll be able to deal with that pressing.
Yeah,
sorry.
I've sort of put that in my 5 things for Babel. That sorry, I got to plug it. That
plug away.
I really wouldn't want to put against Kante and Drinkwater, who are tireless and hard working, and you saw it against City. And to be honest, you've seen it most of the season from Kante. That he never stops running, and I think Flamini would just get overrun in that midfield, and I would much rather have Coquelin in there, who I think's
the tackle machine,
less prone to getting sent off in that sort of a situation.
Yeah, but I say we'll need someone to cut out the source of threat. Just nip that danger in the bud, especially on a Sunday, as it is, so not Saturday. We'll cover Leicester in a little while. I'm concerned about Koscielny at the moment. He keeps making hospital pass after hospital pass. Conor, is that a fair assessment?
Of who, sorry?
Koscielny.
Koscielny, I think, is our most consistent defender, and I do think he's a bit lost without Mertesacker at times. But no, I think he'll do a good job against Leicester.
Well, yeah. Do you think who's his partner going to be on Sunday? Do you think it'll be Gabriel or Mertesacker?
Normally, I've been persuaded by Gabriel a little bit. I was always pro Mertesacker, but I think I start Gabriel to with Vard on the break, getting back into position, and just the mobility. I think you've got to go with Gabriel over Mertesacker on Sunday. So
Mertesacker's going to get skinned if he plays against Vardy repeatedly.
Yeah,
it's a major concern of mine. I think with Gabriel also he'll be quite decisive, and Vardy's he's not a particularly fiery character, but he is. You've seen how against Man City the weekend he was in and out of that City defence. He just got the ball, just kept turning and arcing. It was lovely to see, especially from an England forward. But against the likes of us, I mean, yeah, everyone's going to have to be on the game without a shadow of a doubt. So it's good to keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth. Arguably, it felt like we got those 2 goals, and then it thought, right, let's just sit back now. Do you think, Rob? Did you think there was like a? Well, did you see? Do you think we were keen to look for another goal, or do you think we're happy with what we had at that point?
I honestly think we seem contented. Breakaways, but they never looked like they were really ever going to come to anything. I don't know if we just thought because looking back, Bournemouth didn't have too many clear-cut opportunities. A lot of shots from long range just weren't going to double check. I mean, I've been thinking about this, that we don't really ever batter teams anymore. Like over the years, we've beaten teams 4-5, 6-7-0, and City do that on occasion. Like this year, was it against Bournemouth actually? That they scored quite
5-0.
Yeah, sorry, Newcastle's the one I'm thinking of when Aguero scored 5, and our team never seems to do that, and I don't know if that's an issue or if it's just actually it's good that you're not trying to go for too many goals, because you could get into that Liverpool against Palace situation where you lose the game.
Well, I think it is an issue because it shows that if we need to work through the gears, then they're there, but they're not. They're a bit like a broken Skoda. Like the clutch is gone and a bit. If you forgive that analogy, because we've said in the podcast, me and Jack, many times, it's 2-0, 3-0. Let's just go and batter these. And it never happens because we're quite happy to sit back, and then Wenger he brings on Kieran Gibbs on the left as he likes to do, and I think that's a good defensive tactic because Gibbs is quick, and then we get double the cover of Monreal and Gibbs on the left hand side, which I'm absolutely all for, especially at the end of the game. I think it's a relatively good scenario to be able to have, but I mean, I think we'll see how that goes. Conor, I know you were telling me just before we went on the air of an interesting story about Mohamed Elnenys and a certain mattress.
Well,
fire away.
You're right to be excited now, because this my dad runs a cleaning company, and his company got hired to clean Elnenys' house last week. So he was able to he met Elneny, and he basically cleaned his house. So I think it used to be Layun's house of Watford.
Miguel Layun, right? Yeah.
Before he got loaned to Porto.
Yeah.
So Elneny moved in, and the estate agents, told my dad that the price of Elnenys' mattress. Would you like to fathom a guess of how much Elnenys' mattress costs?
Well, okay, I'm going by the standard price of a mattress.
Okay.
So, and then, I've just got to remember to carry the one here. Because it's a Premier League footballer's mattress.
Premier League footballer's mattress.
I reckon somewhere like in the region of £1,000.
£10,000. £10,000.
Oh my god.
For a mattress. And apparently that is written into the houses, because he's renting. It's written into the contract of the house that the landlady will provide a £10,000 mattress. £10,000. And my dad didn't even lie on it. So, yeah, this is great.
Goodness me.
Mm.
And I seen that was. Did he say how old the mattress was?
I think it was brand new. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it carries over.
Was it Egyptian cotton or something like that? Or...
You'd think so. But yeah,
this isn't your standard mattress from I don't know, Silent Night or Dreams.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get it from Dreams.
Other mattress emporiums are available.
But it makes sense because I guess they don't want them sleeping like prop at their backs and what have you. But you think footballers' lives are fast cars and mattresses as well.
And it wasn't gold or anything.
I didn't get a picture of it, but I assume not.
That is extraordinary. So what would you wash that with? You don't wash a mattress, I suppose. It's like your own mattress, and then it's like, yeah. That's why rule number 1 is you don't buy a mattress from anybody ever, because you just don't know what's in it. I think we should probably put a knife in that one right whenever we're going down a slightly dubious road. Yeah. So it would be remiss of me not to mention Czech, particularly for his. Everyone said it was probably a certain corners gave Ramsey man of the match against Bournemouth, and it was like, well, I know Mr. Piers Morgan wasn't too happy about it, but a lot of people said he just made 4 saves. 3 of those saves were right at the end of the game, including one which I don't know how he saved. I think he was just stood there and he blocked it. I can't remember whose shot it was. I think it was Harry Arter. He's about 6 yards out, and it's, oh god, that's a goal, isn't it? It was bouncing around and smacked it, and Czech just stood there. But then about 30 seconds later, the ball comes out, and again, it was a relatively comfortable save for someone of Petr Cech's calibre. But it just goes to show again how crucial he was at that moment in time, Rob.
Yeah, that's all I can say. Yeah, that's really bad. No, he is. I think he could go down as signing of the season if, assuming we go on to win the Premier League, because I'm sure there's a few Leicester players that might win that award instead.
The whole Leicester team potentially. Yeah.
But I mean, he has been terrific. Where I think other goalkeepers for us in the past would have lost us that game. I mean, I said they didn't make too many clear-cut chances, but I think we have been prone in the past to be beaten at times for when an opposition hasn't had too many clear-cut chances, and then the one they do get, they obviously score from. So yeah, good to be alert. I've never had many complaints about Czech since he's joined us, other than the West Ham game. I think he's been excellent since then.
I've had very, very little complaints. As I said, sometimes away from home, slightly. I mean, I raised the question of whether he was slightly suspect. I think probably that's a tad unfair, because he's still a magnificent shot stopper, and he's not the quickest of keepers, but he gets down so well, and I think he belies his statistics. I think one could say. Conor, would you echo those sentiments even?
Of course. I think he is, as Rob says, signing of the season. He certainly are signing of the season.
We haven't seen Elnenys yet.
Yeah.
Right. We have seen one pass, and apparently he's the new Patrick Vieira after making that one pass.
And we'll believe that. But I think he didn't have a lot to do, but what he did do, he did well. There was a bit of some lapses in concentration. I think Monreal was partial to that against Bournemouth, and I think
I noticed that.
But yeah, he didn't have a lot to do. As Rob says, all of that, they did have a lot of shots on record, like statistically, but they were from distance.
The ball fell to Matt Ritchie quite a few times, but he was, I suppose, it's typical Matt Ritchie performance. He either scores an absolute screamer, or he just shoots every effort he has into Rosette.
Yeah,
which is what he tends to do, or certainly well wayward, because he could have definitely been a threat. As was Adam Smith on the lines of Monreal. I'm just remembering it now. He got an awful lot of space, and I couldn't. Nobody was picking him up. If he was finding a ball slightly better into the box, that might have been a different story. I mean, is that a concern, do you think?
I think going back to what we said earlier about closing games off and throwing Kieran Gibbs on, it did worry me a little bit, because we were 2-0 up, but we weren't totally over the line, and they did have opportunities to score. If they got one, it could have been an early finish. So it did worry me a little bit that we weren't. Our mindset wasn't let's go and get a third, let's go and get a fourth. Yeah. Overall, I did like clean sheet away from home. Can't really complain, can you?
No, I don't think so. No.
So we kept. I think Benicophobia was quite isolated. I think we kept him under wraps.
We definitely did a job on him, which is important.
Yeah. I did think if they had all their players fit, Bournemouth, like is it Gradel?
Max Gradel. Yeah.
He was a force for Saint Etienne. They had Callum Wilson, and we've seen what he could do. I think if they were fit, we would have had more problems. But overall, I think we did okay.
They've got Manuel Serbe as well on the bench, but he hasn't really fitted in yet. It's still early days there, so but we don't have to play him again, so it's not really an issue. Hopefully he can do a job on Leicester or Man City at some point in the course of the next few weeks and months left in the Premier League season. So we'll see. Moving away from the Bournemouth game, I mean, we can't really not talk about Leicester City at the Etihad on Saturday. Rob, did you watch the game?
I did, in my very hungover state after Friday night. It didn't really perk me up as well because I was good. Oh God, this is not good for our faint title hopes. I think I tweeted.
Well, yeah, agreed. But just watching that, it was like it was just extraordinary. It was a lot reminiscent of the Liverpool game, but in many ways, Liverpool weren't. You know, they did a job on Man City at the Etihad even. But Leicester did it in a more clinical way, and they just looked like they could actually defend. And
yeah, I was saying that back four it looks so well drilled when you actually look at the personnel in it. It's extraordinary to see that they're top of the league. I know they had a very.
It defines the word team for me because Danny Simpson, Robert Huth. I love Robert Huth, but Wes Morgan. You know, I think he's going to be a tough nut to crack at the Euros when we play them. And then Christian Fuchs, but you know when Leicester signed Christian Fuchs, you know he's a decent signing, former German international, but nothing like that. But together as a four, and with the two in front of them, Kante, Water, and then just further up the pitch, Albrighton, Mahrez, and Vardy. Let's just name the whole team. Australia, Kasper Schmeichel, you know, they just work so well, yeah. So it was just extraordinary to watch, and then just to see Huth not score one, but then the second goal was Joe Hart was absolutely nowhere. It was like, and you know the pub I was watching, it's like, oh my goodness, it wasn't. You know, it's not just 1-0 to it's 3-0 at Manchester City, and they haven't scored. Conor, did you see the game also?
I watched some of it. I saw the highlights. I was at my girlfriend's house at the time, so I didn't see the whole game. But I mean, just the result alone speaks volumes, and I am concerned about them coming to the Emirates. But I think we were the only team. We've been the only team that really conquered Leicester this season.
5-2.
Convincing. Well, I say convincingly. We let in a couple of goals, but. But yeah, I mean, it made as I said, it made a statement, and I think if they beat us, then they've got to be favourites, surely.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think this is a big chance, though. I think again, a lot like Bournemouth, albeit I think if we were away again, it will play into our hands a little bit more. But because we'll be at home, that nervousness will kick in, and then just knowing what they can do on the counter attack is frightening.
Yeah, and I hope we're not pressured into it by those inside the Emirates to go and commit too many men forwards, because there is that cliche of having to play attacking football more often at home, and I hope we're not almost forced into it, because I think we will get punished.
Well, like you say, I mean, yeah, you said in the earlier part of this podcast, you say you're concerned that it took us 11 minutes to get a first touch of the ball against Southampton. But then equally, if you think about it, I mean, that is why they don't, because they just want to sit relatively tight and then get a feel of the game. Whereas if I don't know how the game against Leicester's going to develop. I mean, I can just see it being ridiculously high tempo almost the whole game. I don't see, unless Leicester decide, look, hey, the point's a great result here. I can't really see that. Because just on the counter-attack, they'd be frightening to play. But then I think therein lies it's so important to play Coquelin, and just even if as the only change in the game, and also playing Theo for the counter-attack, pace on on break.
I think the fear might be that Leicester don't care about a point being a good result. I think that they might be a bit more open, and I mean their defence is very drilled, but I think thinking, oh yeah, points great result, because they don't expect to win the league. That for them they will come and attack us perhaps, and that can play into our hands. But
yeah,
if we aren't very clinical, which we haven't been up until Sunday, then they could beat us actually.
I think we might be looking at another a couple of goals in this. Probably not 5-2, but I think we're looking at a 2-2 or a 3-2, maybe, or a 3-3, something like that, which would be nice because it's my birthday on Sunday, and if we win, it's even better. So 5 goals at the Emirates, be nice. Might be
nil now.
Sorry.
It'll be a 0-0 now. Now you've said it.
Yes, every possibility. Honestly, I just can't see that. If it's 0-0, then I will not do something I will regret, but I don't know. I'll think about that. Perhaps. Interesting to note. Did you see this? We've poached the Leicester City technical scout.
Yes.
Is it Steve Wrigglesworth?
Ben
Wrigglesworth. Now, is this a little bit lazy of us just to think, right, hold on a sec, Leicester have brought all these players in and they're all flipping brilliant, so let's just copy them, and I mean, fair enough. I mean, kind of like, maybe it could be like I'm trying to think of the right word for it, like everyone's copied Arsenal's game in the past, from the attack, and it worked out. So let's just go and nick this bloke from Leicester and hope we can scout and recruit the right people. What I would say to that is Arsene Wenger listened to a word of what he said. Anyway, Conor.
I think.
Do you know what I mean? I should really explain myself. Like, you can have a scout and a technical scout, and it's like, right, yeah, I'm going to go and find all these players. But then ultimately, Wenger, if he's still going to be there, which he will be almost certainly at the end of the season, he's going to be the one that gives it the okay, isn't he?
Well, yeah, ultimately, yes. I mean, hopefully we're trying to wean off that kind of mentality, because surely Wenger's time is coming to an end. Well, not like that, Neil.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. Goodness me.
I hope he doesn't get sacked. I'm a big lover of him, and he won't. But he can only go on for so long. But yeah, I think it's a good move. Bring in. It must be like players. Bring in who's spotting the best talent at the moment. I don't know what if his speciality is in France, or if he'll work just like scouting players in England. But it's a good move.
Yeah. I mean, I'd heard rumours that we're putting together a new analytical team or scouting team or whatever in the coming months, and this Wigglesworth is, I don't know if he's heading it, but he's going to be a big part of it. Someone else that was also involved in finding Mahrez, Ben, I can't remember his name, he's gone to Tottenham. So
yes,
Leicester,
I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, Leicester aren't losing their players; they're losing their scouting.
They're losing the staff. Yeah. It's extraordinary.
But I echo that. Yeah, we have to sort of get away from Arsene Wenger heading up everything. He's only going to be here so long now. So the teams that are doing quite well, I don't want to say are being successful, because I think Leicester are perhaps the only one that use this approach at the top of the league. But Southampton and Swansea have been sort of success stories of using statistics and big scouting teams to find players. And they've found success from it and found good players from it as well, which we perhaps missed out on over the years.
Possibly. I mean, with Midtjylland, they play Moneyball, don't they? They base their scouting and their game and their philosophy on statistics wholly. It'll be interesting to see against Man United in the Europa League. I think it's next week. Yeah, it's next week. But that's rather a side issue. So I think that'll be interesting to note. I mean, it would be great to think that we can look, and get the future stars. Although, those future stars in a different team like ours might just not be the same players. So, it could just be rather an empty gesture. But we'll have to see.
The issue, I suppose, is as supporters. What do you want to see? Do you want to see Mesut Ozil come for 40 million, or do you want to see Riyad Mahrez come for 400k and in a year's time he'll be the best player in the league? We've had many years of signing these players out of nowhere for small amounts, and a lot of them haven't come off. So I think people might be a bit uneasy.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. We've moaned. The general Arsenal fan, the population have moaned. It's like, the money's there, and why aren't we spending the money? Now we are, and especially with Ozil, it's taken certainly a good year for most people to be on his side. So that doesn't even. I think we've got to remember Mahrez. He was a very flaky player last season, and he's just hit the ground running this season. I don't know if it's. I mean, the thing I read about Ranieri is that he's basically turned a blind eye to their eating habits. He lets them get on with, within reason. I don't think they're just eating pizzas every night.
He did take them out for pizza, didn't they?
Those hot dogs. Yeah, hot dogs and pizza.
Hot dogs and pizza.
Fantastic, yeah. If that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what does. Maybe, I don't know what kind of pizza it was. Maybe deep dish Hawaiian. I'm guessing. I don't think it'd be a meat feast. I don't think that will go down too well at training. I'm trying to think of possible pizza puns for their players, but I can't. Yeah.
Let's move on.
Let's move on, and probably let's wrap this up on the pizza note. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining us again, guys. Can I get a prediction for Leicester? How do you think it's going to go? Rob, sorry.
Oof.
Do you think we're going to win? Or I won't put you on the spot. In fact, I am going to put you on the spot. I won't say what's the score. You say, do you think it's going to be a draw Leicester or Arsenal? Just say it.
I think we're going to win it.
So Arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay. Conor?
I'll go Arsenal win as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to complete the trifecta. I think we'll win it. I think I'm even going to say 3-2. And that will do nicely. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. How can we get hold of you on Twitter, Conor?
My Twitter handle is @dsmith19.
Thank you, and Rob.
Yeah, it's @RobTonginson94.
Lovely, jubbly. Thank you very much. I've been your host, Neil Leverett. You can get me on Twitter @the91stNeil. That's @391STNEIL. We have the Facebook group, which you can lovingly contribute to. Certainly will be getting very excited ahead of this weekend's games, and also you can contact us on Twitter @E_ArsenalNet for anything you want to say. Thanks a lot for listening. Big weekend ahead, huge weekend ahead, and let's hope we come to you on Sunday in a very happy mood. Thanks for listening.